I'm graduating design school soon and super anxious about how I will financially support myself next year, not only in the context of COVID, but I don't want to be stuck in a typical graphic design job where I design emails all day. I know it's a competitive industry and all the people I've talked to have said that they got lucky. Any tips for new grads entering the workforce?
Yeah, definitely. Like, such a brilliant question. Like, it's such a tricky time right now because, because of COVID, there was a period where people stopped hiring people. If you were hiring someone, you were looking for someone who had loads of experience. That's starting to change again. But, I imagine there are some of the anxieties that graduates are facing last night. Well, how do I get myself into a place that I can't even physically meet people? Anyway, let's remove that for a second and get into the question, which is, I'm working on it potentially in a business where I'm not doing the most creative stuff. What do I need to do? And I think when I meet...
Oh no.
That's never happened before. Anyway, what we'll do is hopefully Ben will come back. Probably, I'm sure, like somebody's chewed through a cable or something, or hopefully it's not that bad.
That's what the dog was warning him about. Oh, here he is.
Here he is. He's back.
I was just giving myself a breather from the tricky question. Just kidding. I'm not quite sure what happened, so apologies.
You're breaking up. No.
Can you hear me okay now?
We're all good.
Fantastic. Yeah, sorry about that. Not sure what happened. But I think where I was at with the question was, you're in a job that you're not particularly inspired by. That's unfortunately at times a reality of life. And then again, it's like, okay, cool. What do I do next? And when I meet people, when I interview people, I love it when I meet people that says, hey, Ben, I've been in this job and I'm not inspired, but check out all this other stuff I've been doing. So it's like, hey, I'm not going to show you this stuff. Of course, you can see it if you want to see it, but I'm not inspired by it. But the stuff I've been doing over here, I've been finding self-initiated projects. I've been tag teaming with my friend who's got this amazing mental health initiative, and I help them build this identity. Or I'm working on this strategy piece to help a friend. That's the passion that is infectious, that you're stuck in a situation that you're not particularly pleased with, but rather than just sit there, of course, we need the income, we need the money, but then how do you segment time to enable you to work on those kind of projects that when you do get the opportunity, all of a sudden people lean in because they're like, wow, okay, you had that job, but you're doing this. You get to see the real you get to see what you're passionate about, and ultimately you're going to inspire the person you're talking to.
Are there any examples of people that have caught your attention, like early on? They've been able to get a foot in the door with you, whether at Interbrand or RGA?
Yeah, I think we often, we'll look for a book. We'll ask a couple of questions like, what part did you play? What role did you play in those projects? Because often there's a gigantic project and you're not sure exactly what part people played. So I'll usually sort of interrogate that a little bit. And then I'll say, like, what else do you do? What are the other things you're interested in? What's other stuff that you've done just because you love it? And then you really start to see the real person. And I can use myself context. When I left university, I didn't get a job straight away. I worked in a retail store in London. I didn't enjoy it. It was pretty boring. I was trying to sell clothes I wasn't inspired by. But I spoke to the manager and I said, hey, can I rebrand your store for you? And he was like, yeah, let's do it. And that got me my first job because I didn't have a particularly great portfolio, but they loved the passion behind making good of a negative situation. They could see the kind of the want to continue to push things forward. So I think I can talk from first-hand experience. And yes, I've seen a million portfolios, and I'm always looking for those people that just go that extra mile.
Okay, great. Katie, anything to add on that one?
No, I just love it. I love hearing you talk, because the thing is, Ben, as you go into it, even your enthusiasm in answering it comes through. And that's the thing, where focus goes, energy flows, right? Yeah. So if you want to feel inspired, do inspiring things. If you want to feel more joyful, do things that bring you joy, right? And it doesn't have to just come through the expression of the contractual work. It can come in your friendships. It can come in what you do in your spare time. It can come in all sorts of ways. So really what I hear there is kind of an aggregation, a momentum, an expansion of energy. And then however that expresses will fulfill you. In fulfilling you, you'll be in a better state. In being a better state, you're going to tell yourself a better story, better emotions, better result, and it will feed unto itself. So I really enjoyed listening to you answer that.
No, I love that. Thank you. I think, you know, just building on that a little bit, it's also that once you've done something you're passionate about, you can share it with someone to actually ask for feedback. So, hey, how can I make this better? Like always being open to feedback and going, I've done this, I'm pretty proud of it, but I'd love you to help me make it better. That's like a really great conversation to collaborate on. And, you know, someone once said to me, about reading books. Find books that you're interested in and then you finish them. And it's the similar thing with find creative projects that you're interested in, and it's stuff that you really believe in, and then you're going to push it and really make sure you do it and you finish it.
What is your mate? I remember you had a phrase, and it's something around positivity, or what is it that you always used to say?
Positude.
There
so what I meant by that, and I'm willing to just look like a bit of a douchebag here, but it's kind of like be positive. But, you know, a lot of people think that's a bit fluffy. Do it with attitude. You know, positude is like a positive attitude, but it's like, you know, it's like backing yourself, which is kind of like that optimistic realist, right? Kind of two kind of opposing forces coming together to make something better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. It's always, anyone who's ever worked with Ben will know how that positivity keeps going through. And it's like, I think it's a thing, often it's come up in things in the past, in asking for a friend around, like, you've got to be able to see the way out of something for yourself. And you've got to be able to kind of, you know, see where the positivity can be. But I also think that, you know, quite often, if you want to see something that isn't going to work out, then that's what will happen for you. And, you know, you kind of, if you assume something's could be great, then actually you're much more likely to kind of see the positive thing come out of it as well. So I think for that person is, you know, there's definitely a watch out of just making sure that, you know, if you're assuming that you're going to get into something and it's going to be really mundane and boring, then, you know, you may well fall into it. But if you look for something that's a bit more positive and inspiring, then, you know, hopefully that's what you'll find instead.
Can I tell the story of the two-headed wolf? If anybody doesn't know it, it's a good one. You know it, Ed?
No, I don't know. I'm looking
okay, you're going to like this one, I think. You know what? You are. I'm going to tell myself you are. Positive story. Positude I've got here.
Yeah.
So it's an old fable. Grandma is telling her grandson about the two-headed wolf, right? And one of the heads is really... it's really angry, it's really embittered, it's really frustrated, it's really constricted, it's coming from a place of lack. You get the picture, right? And the other head is a really buoyant, opportunistic, positive, energized, collaborative head, right? Two heads, one body. And the grandson goes, but Granny, which one leads? And she says, the one you feed. You know, so I love that. So simple, but it's true. You know, we tell ourselves a story and then we look for evidence for it. And if you choose to look right instead of left, you'll be amazed that evidence will cascade, right? So just make sure which bit of you you're fueling, because we are all of it, of course. We are positive and negative. We are both confident and collapsed. So you have to really commit to being present with the buoyant part of yourself and parenting the part of you that goes, oh God, that hurt, and go, yeah, okay, you know, yeah, of course, you know, if you're sensitive, which we are, it will hurt, but let's look for where 3 other people told us something great.
Yeah, and it takes work. It takes work, doesn't it? It doesn't just happen overnight. You have to keep practicing to be able to get better at checking yourself and realizing when you're allowing yourself to kind of spiral out a little bit. And kind of, I love that. I think it's brilliant. And, you know, something I read years ago, which still really resonates with me is thinking of yourself like a radio dial. You know, if you're listening to a station that you don't like, change the station. You know, remember to go, oh shit, that's me thinking negatively or thinking that I'm catastrophizing about something. Cool. Switch the dial until you find something you're interested in. Again, easier said than done, right? Easy to kind of shout these things out, but it just takes practice. You need to get better at recognizing when you're moving into a negative thought pattern and how you can actually be one step ahead of it.
Yeah, exactly. And again, with the physical health analogy, right? Let's say that you get yourself into peak fitness and you run a marathon, right? And you ace it, you win it, right? You get a gold at the Olympics, yeah? You're prolific at it. You go home and you go, got that one now. And then you sit back on the couch and you binge Netflix and you eat crap and you don't move for a year. How's your fitness? Right? Same is true with your mental health, right? So these little things, these moments of attunement, of conscious, considered engagement, you know, it could be as simple as 5 minutes in the morning or just a minute in the shower, right? What is my intention today? Intentionality is really strong. What is my intention today? At the end of the day, let me look for, maybe you're a journaler, maybe you're not, write it down, put it in your phone, whatever. What are 2 examples of where I was respected today? Or let me find 2 things that I appreciate about myself. Or what are 2 things that I'm grateful for? Or if you're a creative and you're working on a project, what are the 2 great bits of evidence or the 2 wonderful bits of feedback that I got? Because the tendency will be, the bias will be to feed the one criticism. And there's probably 57 people that loved it. And you're focusing over here on this one and not the other 57, you know?
Very true.